Before this video starts, here is an animation of a wind pump that is designed to thicken the Arctic ice. If you want more information on this project, visit the Thickening Arctic Ice YouTube channel. The link to it will be in the description. Hello, this is me, Deafening Octopus, and welcome back to another, part 2 in fact, of the 2017 Formula 1 predicted driver lineup. Of course, a lot of this hasn't been confirmed yet. I checked just now, and only 10 out of 22 of the available seats have been confirmed. So still a lot of seats open. And in fact, in this video, all of the seats that I'm going to be talking about, so all of the available spaces, are completely open. So it's anybody's, well, not anybody's game. I mean, like, you have to be a proper racing driver with links to that team and so forth. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. Anyway. So I'm going to now do my best at predicting the second half. Well, second bit, not exactly half. I did most of it last episode, but second part of the 2017 Formula 1 driver lineup. Here we go. Okay, so the first team I'm going to be discussing is Haas, the first American team in a long time, and I think it's going to be Romain Grosjean who takes the first seat. Of course, it's unconfirmed so far. Grosjean, of course, always a fast driver. He's got, in fact, one fastest lap in the sport, 10 podiums. He was teammate with Kimi Raikkonen for a long time at Lotus and almost beat him on a number of occasions. Yeah. Definitely a quick driver, and he's definitely been outpacing Esteban Gutierrez so far this year in the Haas team. So I reckon Haas will employ him for another year. But his teammate next year, I don't think will be Esteban Gutierrez. I think it will be young GP3 driver Charles Leclerc, who is currently leading GP3. Actually, he's been on the the Ferrari's young driver program for a long time. In fact, he did a test session in Silverstone for the Haas F1 team earlier this year, and he looked quite quick. In fact, he was just getting used to the car, and I think that we're going to see him alongside Romain Grosjean next year. So what does that make of Esteban Gutierrez then? Well, I think he is probably going to have to either settle for being a test driver next year, maybe Haas test driver, or going on to a different sport. You know what? Gutierrez is the kind of driver I wouldn't be surprised to see in Formula E, the electric Formula series. So, you never know. We could see him there, and I reckon that we might. But whatever it is, wherever he goes, I don't think it will be Formula 1 next year. Anyway, moving on now to Renault. Again, both drivers unconfirmed. And Renault's a bit of a weird one, because they're, like, they haven't been really showing the pace they would have hoped or expected this year. So, is it the drivers or is it the car? It's hard to judge, but I think they'll keep Kevin Magnussen for another year. So Kevin Magnussen, of course, son of Jan Magnussen, and I reckon that he's going to be staying for another year. He's been outpacing his teammate Jolyon Palmer so far this year. Renault would be unwise not to keep him, I'd say. Anyway, his seat number 2, though, at the moment is being held by Jolyon Palmer, but I think that next year it's going to be Esteban Ocon, who has done a few test sessions for Renault this year. He's currently racing in DTM. He won the 2014 Euro Formula F3 Championship. In fact, two spots ahead of Max Verstappen in the season that year. And to beat Max Verstappen in a series like that has to take some talent. So Esteban Ocon, I'd say, is going to be teammates with Kevin Magnussen next year at Renault. Anyway, Jolyon Palmer, of course, currently Kevin Magnussen's teammate, but unfortunately I don't think that's going to last. Unfortunately, they're anyway. The 2014 GP2 champion has been showing pace sometimes, but he doesn't seem to be as consistent or as quick as Renault would have wanted, and unfortunately for him, I don't think that he's going to be in Renault again next year. I think he's going to be replaced by Esteban Ocon. Anyway, now for Manor. Now, Manor is probably the most likely to leave their seats until the very last moment to be announced. But I think it's going to be Pascal Wehrlein, who is going to do another year in the team, because he's definitely proved to be quick this year. Like, in Austria, for example, he's already taken the team's first point this year. He came 10th in Austria and gained the first point of the year for the team. And he's been out-qualifying his teammate Haryanto on many occasions, so I think they'd be unwise not to keep Pascal Wehrlein. Anyway, he's going to be alongside Jordan King, as far as I can see. Jordan King, a quick driver. He was the 2013 British Formula 3 champion, and he also brings a lot of funding to the team, which Manor obviously needs. Of course, he does bring a lot of funding to the team because he's the son of Justin King, who is the former Sainsbury's CEO. So he brings a lot of funding from that. He definitely brings the money to the team. Also, there have been rumours about Alexander Rossi maybe coming back to Manor. Of course, Rossi drove 3 races for Manor last year, but I think that after his Indianapolis 500 success this year, and his IndyCar success, I think he's probably going to be content in IndyCar, and I think he's going to be staying in IndyCar for at least another year. Of course, Indy 500 winners do tend to go on to do great things in Indy, so I think he's content there. Then there's Rio Haryanto, who of course is driving for Manor F1 team this year, but I don't think he's really going to stay at Manor next year. I mean, he brings the funding, of course, because he's Formula One's first Indonesian driver, which, of course, brings a lot of funding in itself. But the thing is, he doesn't really bring the speed. Like, he's quick at times. I mean, he's won a few GP2 races, but he just doesn't really... He's not as quick as Pascal Wehrlein, that's obvious. Also, again, there have been rumours about Roberto Merhi returning to the team. Roberto, of course, drove a lot of races for the team last year, in 2015, although he seems quite content racing for Manor now in LMP2. So, in a way, he is still racing for Manor, but in a different racing series. He's no longer in F1, and I don't think he'll be returning to F1 anytime soon. Neither will Will Stevens. Well, neither will Will, who was Roberto Merhi's teammate last year at Manor, and another driver who seems content in LMP2 at the moment, and I think that he'll be definitely staying in the World Endurance Championship and not returning to Formula 1. So that is that's Will Stevens. Drove the most races out of Manor's 3 drivers last year. Anyway, Sauber now. So Sauber is a big question mark because they've had the same drivers the last 2 years, but they haven't really been delivering. I think they're going to keep Marcus Ericsson. I think that Marcus Ericsson, although he hasn't really been that impressive, I think he's been outscoring Felipe Nasr this year, and I think last year as well. No, I think Nasr did outscore him with that one result in Australia last year, but Ericsson has been outscoring Nasr this year, and I think that the team will probably see that and keep him. Whether that's a wise decision or not, I don't know. Alongside him, I reckon they're going to want to change things up, so I wouldn't count out Sergei Sirotkin. So Sergei Sirotkin, he's currently leading GP2. He's joint on points with what's his name? Pierre Gasly, that's it. Who I do think will be driving for Toro Rosso next year. So Sirotkin obviously has talent. He was actually signed, well, very nearly signed for Sauber a few years ago, but he couldn't get his super license in time. So Sirotkin has links with the team, definitely. Anyway, what does that leave of Felipe Nasr? Unfortunately, I don't think much. I think I mean, there's a chance he'll be the test driver for Sauber next year, but even that looks unlikely, I'm afraid, with other successful drivers like Alex Lynn waiting on the sidelines. So Felipe Nasr's future in Formula 1 is uncertain, I think. But anyway, that is my predicted driver lineup for 2017. You've now seen both parts of it, I expect. Tell me what you think of my opinions in the comments section of this video, because after all, everyone thinks different things about who's going to be driving for which team next year, and which drivers should be driving for which team next year, and things like that. And I want to know what you think, so do leave in the comments what you think is going to happen next year, who's going to be driving next year, and so on and so forth. But yeah, thank you for watching these 2 little videos, and I will see you all in future videos. Goodbye!